So today we are delighted to be joined by Jason Sebacher from Gitelman Good publishers. Welcome. It's nice to see you.
Great to see you again.
And so at StageAgent, we are always very excited to discover new works, new playwrights, and to share them with our users, for all our users, and especially when we consider schools, drama teachers, drama students, etc. So we were very excited to discover you guys. So maybe to kick things off, do you want to just tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Sure, of course. My background, I've been writing for about 2 decades. I've been in education either as a high school teacher, middle school teacher, college instructor, college administrator for around 2 decades. I've been volunteering with Chicago Public Schools for over a decade as just an arts educator, doing workshops, visiting classrooms, presentations, craft things, but also as a writer, writing full-length pieces and shorter pieces as well. As far as like my artistic background, that's sort of what I bring.
Tell us about Gitelman Good. How did this come into fruition? How did it start? How long has it been going?
We are about to celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And thank you. It began with a question, I suppose. What are barriers to high schools doing new work, full-length pieces, not classroom pieces, not exercises, but what are those barriers? And that question I asked myself, that was a sort of a pandemic project. And after 2-3 years of research, market research, interviewing teachers, hiring a few IP attorneys at my own personal expense, the answer is Gitelman Good publishers. That's the answer to my question. I don't think that there are any barriers, or to rephrase, I think that all of the barriers to high schools producing main stage new work that's bold, not necessarily moralistic, but still edifying, those barriers are all self-imposed. And through that research, through developing new user interfaces, through that market research, Gitelman Good publishers was born.
Amazing. And so I'm interested, how do you find or work with the playwrights that come on board with you? Do you actively seek them out, or do you already have a network that you go to?
The network comes from those places that playwrights go to find publication opportunities, places that I went to find publication opportunities and production opportunities. But from there, we have several writers who have multiple pieces in the catalog, and several writers who are developing new pieces. So I think of it a little bit like a family, like once you're in the fam, right? I work with those writers to help them develop new work. There's one talented writer, Mitch Emhoff. He and I are working with local to him high school with a new work. We're coordinating a staged reading. So once you're in the catalog, I try and work with you to develop new things.
Brilliant. And do you find, are there kind of certain genres or certain subjects that you lean towards, or are you very much open to differing topics?
I'm open to everything. What I ask myself when I get a submission is this exciting? Is something about it exciting? Am I excited by it? It doesn't really have to do with the content. It has to do with the voice. Say that there's a pattern as far as genre. I'm open to anything exciting, something that's got edifying qualities, but isn't really moralistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually there's something in a play that excites me about that writer, something about their voice, something that feels new, something that feels engaging, something that feels like it will speak to like the vitality of the current moment, the complications of the current moment that we're living in, and help lead students toward those conversations, those important conversations that help them explore and make sense of the world around them.
Yeah, and to that end, because obviously I know your target audience, you are working for looking towards schools specifically, and new works for students to perform and explore. And I know as part of Gitelman and Good, you also provide additional resources for the teachers, right? And so to help them guide their students and explore them through these texts, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a publishing company, but I almost envision it like a theater education company.
Yeah.
Right. So each play in the catalog has what I call a classroom companion, 15 to 20 page document that will help teachers bridge the gap between the stage and the classroom. Additionally, to the classroom companion, we have what I call script insights. These are thoughts directly from the writer themselves, right? About maybe the writing process, where the play came from. In my experience as a theater educator, students love hearing from the writer, hearing where the play came from, hearing what the different themes or character developments or other aspects of the play. So it's important to me that each play in the catalog is really connected to the student and educational experience.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it's quite unique that, right, to have that kind of collaborative process involved. I mean, you're not, as a playwright, you're not just chucking your work out into the ether and hoping, that it does some good. But equally, you're not just, throwing out these plays and saying, here you are, go forwards. You're really working, helping the teachers and students to really properly explore these plays.
And the writers love it. The writers love sharing their work, and they love having that outlet. It's not required. Not every play has those script insights,
right?
Because writers are busy. They're busy people. They're usually working people. But at the same time, it is it's a very, very special part of the company.
It's very exciting times. I imagine lots of challenges, lots of hurdles, but very exciting also.
Every challenge is an opportunity. In my personally, I need to be growing. I need to be challenging myself. I need to be doing new things. And so even things like learning to code, light coding, HTML coding, I've really enjoyed it. And marketing, business development, e-commerce, these are all things that sort of partner with natural inclinations or things that I'm already good at, the way my mind works.
So obviously we will put a link to your website on this video so people can come and find you and see what Gitelman and Good is all about. And you mentioned, I think, and socials. You have a social media presence. Can people find you on
Facebook and an Instagram and a LinkedIn? But we're most active on our Instagram. Instagram is where we update people on announcements, new work, contests. We have little mini resources for teachers, drama teachers, that they can use in their classroom throughout the week, prompts, writing activities, and we also feature writers. We have a regular aspect of our Instagram called Writer's Corner, where we just sort of like sit down with a writer, ask them a couple of questions, sort of in line of the script insights thing. So being part of the Gitelman and Good customer base, you really get to know the authors through that. And the Instagram is where we mainly do that.
Brilliant. You're right. It is like a family.
Well, we want it to feel like, Alexandra, I'm sure you're the same way. I'm a book person. I love having books. I love reading books, but I love shopping for books. I love going into bookstores. And so the design concept and the feeling that we want is like your neighborhood bookstore, right? You really get to know the proprietor, you get to know the authors, the layout of the website itself. I wanted to have that same sort of coziness and idiosyncrasy that sometimes these bookstores can have.